Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to TED Talks Ball. We got a special Thursday afternoon edition. It's a special Behind Enemy Lines edition. I've got Gute here with me, also known as Packers_SZN3. And if there's anything else you'd like me to call you differently, otherwise I'll call you Gute. I'm assuming that's after Gutenkoost, your guys'
Yeah,
GM?
Yeah, you can just call me Gute. That's fine.
All right, Gute, right on. Well, thanks for joining. And obviously, it's a big week. We got Saturday, big showdown between our two teams. A lot of excitement on both sides. Definitely seeing a lot of Packers fans excited about the game. You guys just upset the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
It's a huge win. But is there anything else that you'd like us to know about you besides your Twitter handle or anything like that? Anything you've got coming up you want to promote? We can do it now and also at the end of the show. Other shows that you're working on, anything like that you want people to know about?
Honestly, no. I don't really do anything except Twitter. I'm trying to get into writing, but it's just hard, and I've been looking, but that's for another time. But yeah, just my Twitter. That's my main source of tweeting stuff out to people. It's just Twitter.
Right on. Well, let's talk a little bit about divisional round. We're going to be at Levi's. The weather keeps going back and forth. I saw rain earlier this week, and then what was it? Tuesday afternoon, it was saying no rain. Yesterday, no rain, and then today, it was 80% rain this morning, 70% rain during the last show I did. Now it's back up to 80%. So it's looking like it's going to rain at least at some point on Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't have the ones that do the hour by hour. I find are not that accurate, so I don't even really like to look at them. I trust my iPhone for whatever reason. Whatever weather that is seems to work for us here at Levi's.
Yeah, that's fair. But
so weather's a big deal for us because Brock Purdy doesn't play very well in the rain, at least in my opinion.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I don't think we've had very many rain games this year that I've seen Green Bay play. I mean, I watched every game, but I don't think there was really. If I think back, I don't think there was one that was particularly bad weather. Obviously, it's freezing up there, but I mean, other than that, I'm not really sure what to expect in terms of how we would respond to that type of weather. But yeah, I just know that we're pretty good in the cold, but it's not cold out there, so we're at a disadvantage there.
Now, yeah, it's a 53-degree low and a 59-degree high. So, not much difference between day and night out here this time of year because of the bay. The bay, it keeps things warm in the winter and cool in the summer.
For sure.
So we get very good weather or mild weather here in the Bay Area for sure. So talk to me about your impressions, like what you're seeing out there in Twitter land, what you're hearing from other people you're talking to. What you're expecting to see during the game and things like that.
Okay. I think after the Dallas game, people got a little bit overly confident for a minute, and I think we all had to take a second to just realize, this is the 49ers, this is the juggernaut of the NFC. I feel like we're kind of like stormtroopers. We're kind of young, and we're just kind of, facing the big beast, coming up. Personally, I don't have a ton of expectations. I'm just happy to be here. I don't think anybody thought we would be here. And I think that's the majority of the attitude that I'm getting from the side of Twitter that I am on. I know there's a really toxic side, and these people are already taking, receipts from these 49ers fans and all this stuff. And I don't see a point in doing that. Because at the end of the day, we're young, and I expect us, against a defense, like the 49ers, I expect, there to be a few mistakes. I think we did really well against the Cowboys. Definitely surprised me a lot, but the whole vibe I'm getting is the majority of the people that I see is more so, you know, if they have to rate their confidence. I saw a tweet about that the other day. If you rate your confidence on a scale of 1 to 10, you know, how are you feeling? It's more so along the lines of like 4s. It's not anything crazy. There's one like 8 or 9 out of nowhere, and everybody's like, okay, be for real for a second. You know, we got to slow down a little bit. I think I do expect it to be a good game. I hope it is a good game, regardless of what happens. Given, like I said, how young we are and everything. But I think the like I said, the majority of the attitude on social media is, you know, we're just kind of happy to be here, and we're kind of happy to still be in the hunt right now, you know. But I hope reality doesn't set in, but I'm a little worried that it will when we play you guys. So on Saturday.
Well, I mean, that's possible, but I mean, you know, you guys are doing great. I mean, offense is great. Jordan Love is legit. He's doing it without like the kind of weapons that Brock Purdy has on our side of the ball. I think we have the best group of weapons in football.
I agree.
So but you know, there's a lot to like in Green Bay. Like you said, you guys are young. I did see those people that were saying the kind of crazy stuff. Seems like it's dying down
Died
a
out
little bit. Yeah, today seems a lot more normal on the timeline.
A little bit, yeah. I think as
Yeah,
day passes, people are like, you know, okay, maybe not. Maybe we should slow down a little bit, you know.
but you know, I'll tell you, before the playoffs started, I said that the Rams and the Packers were the two teams that scared me the most in the NFC. I won't say it was a ton. Like you said, I think we are the juggernaut of the NFC. But like, you know, I mean, I think your guys' offense is every bit as good as ours. I just think defense is where we maybe have a little bit of an edge. I think statistically our defense doesn't look as good as it's going to look on Saturday because Armstead was out for an extended period of time.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Eric Armstead, and he's huge against the run. And then also Dre Greenlaw's been out a little bit here at the end too, or dinged up. But bottom line is, it's funny because like I worry about Eric Armstead's foot because he's had plantar fasciitis, and like you just never know when that's going to pop back up. But you do know that it probably will pop back up at some point. Maybe not during the game, maybe not even this season, but it will happen. You know, once you have it, it's like chronic. It seems like. And then so Eric Armstead's foot, and then Jake Moody, our kicker's foot, scares me.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I remember that little span there where I think he was missing a lot, and you guys, I remember the reactions were just like, what the heck?
Well, then he missed an under 40-yarder against the Rams and a PAT against the Rams.
Well, we have a kicker problem too, so it's fun. I'll join the club with you there. Our kicker's not
yeah, Carlson. Yeah, he's a rookie too. So I guess we both have. It's funny. I guess it was a while ago. It was during the off season. I had Brian Peacock on. He does Locked On 49ers with Eric Crocky, and it's a big podcast. And he came on my show and he said, Ted, you know, kickers are like reverse running backs. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, think about all the greatest kickers you've ever known. They're all like in their mid to late 30s.
Yeah.
And running backs are like if they even make it to 30, you know? And so it's like that thing of like running backs, you don't even want to give them a second contract. And kickers, they really aren't typically that great until their second or third contract. And so it's tough when you have rookie kickers.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just tougher for us because we used a comp third pick, maybe a glorified fourth round pick essentially on Jake Moody. So that makes it a little more painful. At least with Carlson, I'm guessing he was probably late round or a free agent or something.
I think he would. If I'm being honest, I don't even remember. But I know that he has the most missed extra points in the league right now.
Oof. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, not great. Not great. I really am not confident with him, like, at all right now. So, I mean, it's pretty frustrating. And you know, there's that side of Twitter that's like, okay, well, he's a rookie, so give him time. And then there's the side that's, you know, the Cowboys kicker is a rookie, and he's just nailing everything. And I don't know where I stand with that. It's annoying, I think, more than anything. And it's just like him going up there. It really does.
Yeah, and you know, with the Cowboys rookie, he's a rookie to the NFL, but he played in the CFL or whatever XFL. So he's not like a professional football rookie.
Yeah,
The way
that's fair.
like fresh out of college, like Carlson and Moody are, which I think
Yeah.
makes a difference.
No,
He's,
I for sure.
yeah. Real quick, want to say hi to Dion from Niner Gang Podcast in the house. He says, how does she feel about her media team saying to hit Purdy
Oh,
late?
it's not my media team by any means. That's a trash media team up in Milwaukee that nobody even listens to. I don't claim them. Everybody that I follow on Twitter was so irate about that. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. Even I commented on it and I said, this is really lame. Like, for you to say that. And honestly, sometimes I think media outlets like that are just saying that stuff to get the interactions that they're looking for. And so I obviously fed into it, but at the same time, it is the truth. It's lame. And I don't agree with that at all. That's just a stupid way to go about things.
Yeah, there was another one too. I won't say their name because I think they were just going for interactions, but they were like posting up these things of like, oh, well, if you put pressure on Purdy and make him throw deep, this is what's going to happen. They showed an interception from the
Oh,
Ravens game.
yeah, I saw.
It's like Purdy's
that,
like leading the league in deep ball completion percentage.
we do the same with Love though. If you show him earlier this year when we played like the Raiders and all that, when he threw 3 picks, people coming at him, he dumped it off pick. You knew that you can do that either way, and it's just so frustrating. That's what I mean though. That's like the talk.
Someone in my community went ahead and did something like that, and I didn't like it. And I'm not, I'm not promoting it myself, even though it's a 49er, because I'm like,
yep.
I don't, two wrongs don't make a right. If you think what the first guy did was wrong, don't do it again. And especially because I went through and I read a lot of the comments, and a lot of Packers fans were saying like, oh, this isn't it. And they're like you said, most Packer fans are pretty cool. And they were like, this is just bulletin board material. This is going to end up being quote tweeted. Or even one of them said, this is what the Cowboys did to us last week. I guess the Cowboys did do similar stuff with pictures of Love throwing interceptions, and look how it turned out for them. So like, why would you copy what clearly didn't work for your last opponent?
That's one thing I have learned is I do not run my mouth I don't even run my mouth when it comes to the Chicago Bears, even though I have full confidence when we play the Bears. I do not. I've learned that it's no use in doing that. You watch the game and you enjoy it. I don't find any. Now afterwards, if somebody's coming at me about a bunch of stuff and running their mouth, I'll go back at them afterwards. But that's after I have the ammunition to go back, like game or whatever. But before that, I'm not saying a word. Not a thing. Nope.
There you go. I should take some notes and learn from you a little bit, Gute. I definitely am a little bit of that trash talker receipts guy.
Oh yeah.
Super petty Teddy, they call me.
Okay, I got you, Super Petty Teddy. Okay.
Yeah. I've been known to keep a receipt or two in my time. But I've been wrong myself too, as well. So got to be able to take it if you want to dish it out as well. But Dion said he can appreciate your sentiments, and he likes you keep it at 100%.
I do see that. Thank you.
So I also see no worries about this game due to the recent playoff history versus Green Bay. Well, Dion, yeah and no. I mean, yeah, we're 4-0 in the last 4, but those were against Aaron Rodgers. And I'm not saying that Love's better than Rodgers, because that would be crazy. But I feel like a lot of the Green Bay Packers kind of feel that way from the interactions I've had, that they're like, oh, thank goodness.
In terms of Love and Rodgers, I think people feel that we're doing better because of the morale around the team. Like it's better. It genuinely is better. Just the
less distractions.
Yeah, just the attitudes and everything. I mean, it's
no ayahuasca, no dark caves.
No hippie stuff. No going in the caves and the blackout, whatever he did, where everything was dark for like 3 days.
It's like you can't even do that to war criminals, but he did it to himself.
Why are you doing it to yourself? What are you doing? I mean, just guys that are about football, and I know like they're human beings. They deserve to have that, their things and what they like and stuff. But it just felt towards the end there that Aaron Rodgers just talked about himself all the time, and it just was all about him, and it just got really, really draining. Like as a fan, I just was like, okay, what did he say this week? What did he say on Pat's show, or what did he say about anything else other than football. I mean, it just was always something. And now it just feels like we are just all on the same page for once. It feels like that right now. That's the difference, I think. I don't necessarily think we're better without him. I just think the vibes are different, and I enjoy that more than anything.
No, that's cool. That's cool for sure. You want it to be all about football, absolutely. Yeah, and it's interesting. This will be our 10th meeting in the playoffs. That'll be a record, the most times that any two teams have ever met in the playoffs before. And we're 5-4. The Niners have the 5, Packers have the 4. So obviously, like you guys kind of. Oh, sorry, it cuts you off when I talk. So go ahead.
No, I just was saying it's been pretty painful in my lifetime watching the matchup.
Yeah, the 0-4. Yeah, no doubt. And and just like he was saying, the recent history, Niners fans are obviously quite happy with it. Mm-hmm. We just hope that Love picks up where Rodgers left off, not where Favre left off. Because I hated Favre in the 90s with Dorsey Levens, and that was the running back, but it was trying to remember the wide receiver who was tall, Antonio Freeman.
Oh, Antonio Freeman, yes.
He was a stud. Obviously, Sterling Sharp, too.
For the end.
Yeah. There were some great players. Reggie White. There were some great players on that Green Bay team, those Green Bay teams, for sure. So that's the thing, Dion, is like, there's a little bit of more apprehension on my part because, like, if it was Rodgers, I would feel more comfortable with it than Love, which is he's just kind of a wild card. He's
something new, you know.
He's young, he's hot, he's improving rapidly, or at least he did improve rapidly towards the end of the season. Hopefully, he's not improving anymore. But it seems like it, right? I mean,
that's fair.
No, he's. I mean, and they got all these young receivers. They got Christian Watson. They got Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks. I forget Reed's first name. A couple of good young tight ends.
Yep.
Aaron Jones is, arguably one of the best dual threat running backs out there, up there with Christian McCaffrey. I think Christian McCaffrey is kind of a league of his own, but 100%. Aaron Jones is just right there. If he's one level below, he's just in the very next level.
Oh yeah, when he's it's good. It's really good. I mean,
I don't know that there's anybody around Aaron Jones's level either. So like, I felt like was before was Dalvin Cook, but he just fell off all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, real hard.
Maybe
I was gonna say the
you know who I like a lot is the one who they're out of it, but from the Jags.
Etienne.
Etienne, yeah.
I was gonna say the rookie for the Dolphins, Devin Achane.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty good when he's healthy. He seems, but I think that was the biggest thing that for the Cowboys game. I mean, obviously everybody saw it, but Aaron Jones, 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's crazy. He seems like the Cowboys owner at this rate. I mean, every time he plays them, he goes off. But he really is the heart and soul of our team. He's a leader, and I really hope that we do everything we can to keep him a Packer for as long as we can.
There you go.
The glue, and so I think. Going off of that, just the importance of him. I think if we can get him going, I think it'll be a good game against you guys. But I think your D-line worries me. That was what we talked about earlier, just about all the pieces you've got on there. It makes me a little worried. I'm wondering how our offensive line is going to handle that. So
I would just say that, obviously Bosa's a stud. He's done a lot against the Packers in the past with Aaron Rodgers. Our tackles are kind of like half tackles.
Yeah.
Armstead is a stud against the run, but not much of a pass rusher. And Hargrave is a stud pass rusher, but not really that great against the run. And Chase Young is overrated. I mean, he's a name. He's from Ohio State. He came out. It was Joey Bosa. It was Nick Bosa. And then, he went number 2 overall. And then he tore his ACL too. And so I don't know that he was ever going to be Nick Bosa. I never kind of thought he would be. And now he definitely isn't.
Yeah.
He's a good D end. He's just not what people think of when they hear the name Chase Young.
That's
in my opinion. A lot of people, I think, have him overrated.
yeah.
Blake Kirschman brought up Amon Green. Yeah, another great Packer from the 90s.
My God, I have so many football cards of him. I used to wear him out on Madden, like when they had a long time ago. Oh my gosh, I used to love playing with him.
There you go. No, I mean, I don't think we'll overlook the Packers. My only concern is like the rust factor after having the week off. I mean, I would worry about the Packers too being exhausted though after playing for their lives so many weeks in a row.
Yep.
I don't think either team will be at their best in this game, but it's always interesting. Like they talk about rest versus rust, and I kind of decided I don't like that term because you get the rest when you rust,
Yep.
or you get the rest when you rest. It's really rest versus injuries.
Yep.
And it's kind of interesting that the Lions ended up playing their starters week 18 and Laporta got injured. And I was like, see, that's why you don't do it. But then he made it back.
Yep.
Anyway, that's kind of a long story, but bottom line is when Laporta was out, I picked the Rams to beat the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard he was coming back. I'm like, maybe I should change that pick. And I was like, I don't really care that much to change it. But I should have. If that's my X factor for giving the Rams the W, then when he's back, I should have switched it to the Lions.
Yep.
But that's a lot there. Feel free to jump in on any of that.
Yeah. Well, I was incorrect on both of the teams that I picked. I picked the Rams, and I also picked the Eagles. That was obviously a mistake. I figured I have been waiting for them to get it together, and they still did not. I was like, this is going to be the moment. Like during the playoffs, they're here. They're going to get their crap together. It's gonna work out for them. It was the ugliest football I've ever seen. I mean, I didn't even want to watch it. It just was not good. But I think, but going back to the tight ends, just to talk about our tight ends for a second, it was a little confusing. I guess the time of the draft when we picked like back-to-back tight ends. I mean, we picked, Luke Musgrave, and then we picked Tucker Kraft. And I just was kind of like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing that, back-to-back like that? And then I took a look at the tight end class for this upcoming, draft, and I was like, okay, I kind of get it. And honestly, I feel like we have utilized them really well, and they're pretty good in terms of blocking as well. So I would say that they've both been good picks for us so far. And I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but we have like the third round curse, with Gute, our GM.
Mm-hmm.
His third round picks the past few drafts have just not worked. I mean, we had Amari Rodgers. I mean, we've had a few that just have not worked out. And finally, I think Tucker Kraft was our third round pick, and he stepped up when Musgrave, lacerated his kidney against the Chargers. And I'm like, crap, now we have to play Tucker Kraft, and I don't really know anything about him because Luke Musgrave has been the go-to guy this whole time. And they both have really stepped up and really been useful in terms of just getting open. And like I said, in blocking. So it's been fun to watch both of them.
Well, yeah, they definitely stepped up big against the Cowboys. Talk about third round curse. We can talk third round curses because over the summer I was bashing Kyle for blown it on third round running backs, and then I was like, wait a minute, we've blown every third round pick under Kyle except for we did get Fred Warner, so that's huge.
Okay, all right, that's
one in like 7 years.
Yeah.
And then the only one who really has a chance other than that is Jake Moody, and we see how that's gone. That's so far not so good. And that's a comp third, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's not technically a third round pick. It's after the third round's over, but close enough. Especially when we're typically picking towards the ends of rounds most of the time anyway. It's pretty similar to our third round pick, as long as we keep doing well. But that's interesting about your tight ends. Someone was saying that they thought Kraft was kind of like a younger version of Kittle. Earlier, I had Dave Steger on Steg and Cheese.
Yeah.
And he was saying he thought Kraft was, I think a lot of people probably say that about good tight ends.
Oh,
They're like a young Kittle or something, but I don't know if you'd heard anybody say anything like that.
I haven't. I really haven't. He'd be the first, but I mean, I think that's who you would compare it to as people, tight ends like Kittle or Mark Andrews or just somebody that's, in the league currently that's really good. So, I mean, I would say, if they keep it up, they're going to be a really good duo. But for now, I think they're a little young. Also, I think you guys, going back to the third round picks, I think you guys have one of our third round picks on your roster right now. Oren Burks. Does that ring a bell?
Yes.
That's
Yeah, because we got him for special teams.
Yep. Okay.
And now he's worked his way into being our strong side linebacker who comes off in nickel.
Okay.
So it's obviously, Fred and Dre Greenlaw are the two full-time linebackers, but Oren Burks plays strong side when we're in our base package.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been a good player, great on special teams, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Although we did just get our best special teamer back this week, George Odom, who came over at that same time from the Colts. He's more of a backup safety.
I gotcha.
Whereas Oren Burks has actually played into being a quasi-starting linebacker, right? I mean, starting to me is like if you're out there all the time, but he starts in the base package, which starts the game. So that's you can make an argument that's a starting linebacker for sure. Yeah, no, Oren Burks. We picked up 3 all at the same time because our special teams were hurting. We got Brian Schneider, who's was the Seahawks coordinator for a long time on special teams.
Yep.
And then the third player was Ray McLeod from the Steelers,
gotcha.
who's our kick and punt returner. There's something else. You were talking about your picks. Yeah, I definitely did pick the Bucks. I felt like the Eagles were on the ropes. A lot of Niners fans like to say we broke the Eagles because they really went into a tailspin after we beat them in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys beat them after that, and there's a few others. So that one didn't surprise me. The Cowboys beating you guys surprised me, or you guys beating the Cowboys surprised me a little bit. It's kind of funny because I said I feared was worried about the Rams and Packers the most. But somehow I thought that was like against the Niners, and I thought the Cowboys wouldn't have trouble somehow beating you guys. And so I picked the Cowboys. I also the ones I missed were Cowboys and Browns, and the Rams, which I explained how I should have switched the pick once I knew Laporta was coming back.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, and not that I need money right or anything, but I like to put it on wax whoever I think is like this weekend. I'm betting on all the favorites. I'm not betting or picking all the favorites. I obviously in our game I'm picking us to win. I do think it'll be close. I don't think we'll cover. If I was taking, that's money line, but for points I would take the Packers and the points for sure.
Yeah.
I would take the Ravens over the Texans, although Marlon Humphrey being out, I think is a big deal.
I did see that, yeah. But Marcus back, whew, that makes that's cool.
That kind of I think Marlon Humphrey being out might be worse than
I would agree
because it's like half your defense compared to like Isaiah Likely's playing well.
He is,
on offense.
The absence of Andrews for sure. He's done well.
Yeah, Andrews Likely's great. He's no Andrews though. That's true. I mean, Andrews is one of the best for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm taking the Lions. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks beat the Lions.
Yeah.
And then I'm taking the Bills, and I really wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs beat the Bills.
Ugh.
I know I hate the Chiefs though because
the Chiefs.
Super Bowl. You do too, huh?
Just I don't know. I don't even have like personal beef with them. I mean, we beat them in regular season, but it just was sketchy. Like the whole end was just sketchy. I mean, they just were, Jonathan Owens hitting Patrick Mahomes, in bounds, and they're calling it a personal foul because he was out of bounds, clearly in bounds. Just so many things.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Mm.
Crazy. Randy said we had 3 7-rounders on this roster this year or last. Well, I mean, Juwan Jennings, our wide receiver is something. Obviously, Brock Purdy is the most famous 7th round pick ever. I don't know who the third one is. Fill me in, Randy. Hit or miss average though. When you're hitting 4.7, that's a deep cut. Oh, hitting on we hit a lot on our 4th through 7th round picks. I mean, Lafonga's a 5th round pick. Lenore's a 5th round pick. Obviously Dre, Kittle, DJ Jones, who ended up going to the Broncos, was a 6th-round pick. We've definitely done well in the later rounds and undrafted free agents for sure. But 3rd round has been, other than Fred Warner, literally every single one has failed, or at least hasn't lived up to 3rd round. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, hit or miss. Just real quick, he said, oh, wait. Dion said, Jair is a monster. How's his ankle? I saw you didn't practice today.
He did not. I'm real nervous about it. He just, I saw him during the game, and I was like, oh crap, that's his bum ankle that he rolled in practice from stepping on somebody, and I was like, what are the odds? Like, what are the odds that happens? And so he had been practicing, which he kind of did the same thing before the Cowboys, I believe. It wasn't really, it was kind of up in the air entirely. And then the day of the game, it literally was like, all the reporters are like, he's doing everything he can to like get on the field. He's been doing therapy all week, all these different types of, things to help him, be able to play. And then he, I remember a video came out, one of the guys I follow that, follows the Packers and writes for him and, travels and everything. He posted a video of him on the field with nobody else was there, and he was doing like a little pregame workout to see how he was doing. So I mean, I kind of didn't think he was going to play against the Cowboys, and I just don't know if he tweaked it again. And I think it's probably going to be the same type of thing. He's probably going to go on the field and try it before the game, and then we probably won't know up until the inactives come out, which is like an hour or two before the game starts.
The one thing that I think is encouraging is that usually when people roll their ankle, their foot stays and the ankle rolls to the outside. Mm-hmm. And this one was the opposite. His foot kind of went out and his ankle rolled to the inside.
Yep.
And it tends to make me think it's less serious. So hopefully that's the case. So I never root for injuries, even if it's my opponents, especially like I don't hate the Packers. Like my most hated teams like Seahawks, Cowboys, Eagles have jumped up right in there. Chiefs were not too far below that.
Oh yeah, no, it's never that serious. It's never that serious to wish an injury like that. It's just childish and immature. I mean, these are human beings. These are.
Yep. And we want a good game, and no excuses, right? Is like what I always like to say, right? So hopefully he can play. I did just say to Jair, don't try what you tried on CD on Debo, because he's not a guy you want to get physical with.
No.
And then also, like, if your ankle's not doing well, be careful against Ayuk, because he does tend to break ankles, figuratively, on, people that even have healthy ankles.
He loves
really good route runner.
Oh yeah, he loves to run his mouth. I'll tell you that much. And he played really well against Dallas, and I'm so glad he did, because he went through a slump there. I mean, he just was not healthy, and then he came back, and it just didn't look good, and it just was. I was like, man, he's just not had the best season. Then he played Dallas, and he looked much better. So I'm glad he's got his swag back, or whatever he wants to call it. But he does talk. He does talk a lot. But I think we don't really have that many guys like that on the team, so I think a few is acceptable.
Absolutely. And, when he's on his game, he's one of the best corners in the league, Jair Alexander is, for sure.
Yep.
He's in that top 5 combo for sure. Randy says, how did Jordan Love, an 8-8 quarterback in his 3rd year, become the best quarterback in the playoffs all of a sudden, according to some?
Okay, let's dissect that for a second. In the playoffs, he's played 1 game. So like, I get that he had a really, really good game against the Cowboys. I will not take away from that at all. I mean, he had the record set for like the perfect passer rating for, a first year, or like a rookie quarterback, whatever. Like, it was going to be the perfect passer rating. And then our offense went back on the field, and we kind of dilly-dallied a little bit, and our defense kept them in it towards the end, and we just weren't finishing the game. I mean, it was, it just took a while. And so he threw that one pass, and our tight end dropped it. And so it dropped his rating from like 158 point whatever to like 157.2. And I'm like, well, now he no longer has it. I think he's playing really, really good, but I don't I wouldn't put him at the best because I don't think we have a big enough sample size. Now, if he plays really good on Saturday, regardless of the outcome, then I would give him, I would give him a lot of credit for that. And I would say, okay, he's really shown up even against a team like the 49ers who have a really, really good defense, Regardless, I would still give him the credit. But, I won't deny. I think he's been up there for performing really well, but I just don't think we have a big enough sample size to call him, for the playoffs. I mean, it's only been one game, but I know what he's saying though. I mean, there are people that are like, "Well, this is the best quarter. He's playing like the best quarterback in the playoffs right now. He's playing really well." But I think we need to see more than just one game.
Yeah, he and CJ Stroud both played amazing.
I know they almost had identical
for young QBs.
That was the craziest thing. They had like identical stats except for that one. I think he threw for like 2 more yards, but the attempts for completions were the same and all of that. Like it was crazy. It was crazy.
It was, and what you could say about both of them is, they don't really have a lot of elite weapons. Nico Collins is good, but or very good, obviously. And so is Christian Watson, but he's been out a lot this season for you guys. Wasn't he out the last 4 or 5 games of the season or something like that?
Yes, he didn't play against Chicago, so he was out kind of those last 4-ish games or so, I think, because of his hamstring, the same hamstring that he deals with all the time. But when he's healthy, he's very good, but that hamstring is a problem, I think. I think it's a problem.
It's a bummer. Those things can linger for a long time.
Oh, yeah, it's been lingering.
I hear you. All right. Well, so I think hopefully that answered your question, Randy. I mean, I think, it's not just how well he's doing, it's how well he's doing compared to his weapons, or at least how young his weapons are.
Yep.
So just and where they are ahead of schedule. People thought this might happen with him someday, but obviously, to have it first year is pretty incredible. He says Jair Alexander will play. He's not missing this game. Yeah, I think he'll play.
I hope you're right because we need that. There's just X factors everywhere. Gotta have everybody.
Before the game last week, I said, Jair's playing, but for how long and how well? When you're that questionable that you're a game time decision, It always makes me wonder: will they finish the game, and will they be 100% ever during the game? Mm-hmm. And I'd have that same concern against us. We'll see. But it's at least from what Matt LaFleur was saying, he sounds like he's pretty positive that this week he's ahead of where he was last week, and he played last week, and played very well. So sounds like that's at least possible, if not likely. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I feel like the two offenses are kind of a wash. I feel like we have all these great weapons, but I think talk to me a little bit about how do you feel about the Packers O-line?
I have to give them credit. They've played. I hope they don't make me regret this, but they have played very well the past few weeks. I mean, he didn't take a single sack against the Cowboys. He took one, but it was a penalty, so it negated it. It didn't count. But they played very well. I think the difference maker, which this is kind of like you mentioned earlier, the X factor. I think this is our X factor, is our offensive lineman Zach Tom. That guy has played.
I've seen his name.
He has played out of his mind. I mean, he has been very good. He played against Michael Parsons. He's done well against Montez Sweat, everybody before now. Danielle Hunter. I mean, all of them. He's done so well. Just as a group, they've done well. But him individually, I mean, he is on top of it. And back to the draft picks. He's a 4th round pick. So I will say we did find a gem there because he's been very good for us. But I do think that's going to play a big part, given, I feel like in the history of these past 4 losses we've had you guys in the playoffs and everything, it's just been, we've gotten murdered up front, and we have got to figure out how to contain that. We got to figure out how to get the run game going and everything. But I think Zach Tom, we found a stud. I really do. He's played well all year. He really has. There
you go. Because it's interesting that you guys lost Bakhtiari, and it seems like the O-line's still been pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dion wants to know, can't you give me a sleeper guy we aren't watching out for that could be a real impact guy for for the Packers.
Wonder if he's wanting offense or defense. Sleeper guy. I'm gonna have to go back to our tight ends for a second. Not because of them getting open and making good plays. I'm going back to the blocking. I really think that they've done really well, establishing, if we're going to run it outside or, they'll get around and they're really good at blocking for us. And I think that's somebody to pay attention to, whether it's Luke Musgrave or Tucker Kraft. I think Tucker Kraft, since he's played a little bit more, he's got a little bit more. I mean, he's played a little bit more as of recently. I think that, his blocking is a little bit better, but both of them block really well. So I think, both of them. Just the blocking on the tight ends. And then I think for defense, if I were to pick one for the defense, a guy that doesn't get talked about a lot, probably Devontae Wyatt, D lineman we've got out of Georgia. We picked him first round. Same draft we picked Quay Walker. He's been really good for us lately. Not a lot of sacks. He doesn't get to the quarterback too often, but he's very good in stopping the run. So I think that that's somebody to look at. He's a very big guy, so he's pretty good at that. But that's somebody I'd look at. Just kind of under the radar dudes. That's what I would say.
There you go. DN says Brenton Cox Jr.
Brenton Cox Jr.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I don't think that was Brenton.
Randy says, so you guys think Brock is a system QB with the best weapons and anyone who can QB the Niners? This seems to be the thinking of a majority of people. I think it's the loud people, Randy, not the majority of people.
No, I do not think Brock Purdy is a system quarterback. I think he plays with good weapons, but I mean, he makes the throws, and most of them are really good throws. I mean, I don't think that's a product of. I mean, I think Shanahan he calls good play. I mean, I think the plays are good. I do, but I mean, I wouldn't call him a system quarterback if he's continuously showing up like he is. That's not. I don't think he's. I don't think. Oh yeah, he is rotational. He is right. Brenton Cox is a rotational. Yeah, I guess so. But I just, if we're talking about that, probably in terms of linebackers, probably Isaiah McDuffie instead is who I would say. But he might not even play because he got hurt against the Cowboys. But he's been really good for us too. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he's back to that. I don't think he's a system quarterback.
I mean, if he is, he's the best system quarterback Kyle's ever had, other than maybe Matt Ryan, 2016 MVP, number one offense, Atlanta Falcons that year. But yeah, I mean, just the way he throws 10 to 19 yards in the deep ball. I mean, you don't lead the league in deep ball completion percentage. And when he's throwing him on, it's not just like he's barely throwing them at a high percentage. He's throwing them on a pretty regular basis.
Yep.
And to the point where we don't have any of the top yak guys this year. Like if you look at the top yak players in the NFL, not a single one is a 49er, which is very unusual because they definitely are yak guys. They just Brock's been throwing it deeper, and you just don't get as much yak on deeper catches typically.
That's right. So no, I mean, I don't think anyone can quarterback the Niners. I don't think so. I just, I think he's a good fit there. And I think he, like you've been saying, the deep ball and everything. I mean, that's not a product of a system. That's just talent.
Randy would like us to take in order the playoff QBs and their draft positions. Well, Goff and Baker were both number one overalls, right? That's going to be the first time two number one overalls have played since I think it was Peyton Manning and Luck, which is interesting because they were both taken by the Colts too. But since they faced off in the playoffs, then everyone else is a first round QB. And then there's Brock, who's Mr. Irrelevant. Yep. But I think he wants us to order them as far as you want her order of who the best quarterbacks are in the playoffs, like who's the best and who's the worst out of the 8. So I think that's what he's asking. Okay. Well, give us let us know, Randy, if that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Rotational linebacker. Oh, you said rate. Yeah.
Okay.
Take instead of take. Yeah. Darwin's Ravens in the house. He came on with me before the Ravens game. Said Packers had a great draft.
We did have a really good draft. It was fun times. I was excited.
The Niners, on the other hand, not so good. 2023, we barely any of our rookies are playing. I mean, Moody obviously is our kicker, but like most of the rest, and part of it is we do like to redshirt our rookies, kind of like how you guys did for Love.
Yep.
We instead of 3 years, we usually do 1 year for most of our rookies. So that's happening with a lot of them. But there's really been barely any other rookies that have made an impact on the team. Oh, except for Jair Brown. Sorry, our first pick at number 87.
Yep.
He filled in well for Hufanga at first.
Oh,
But he started to show his rookiness the last couple of games, including the Ravens. So we'll see that he's back. So that's good news.
Yeah.
But that could be an area you guys could attack. Other areas in our defense you might attack would be Ambry Thomas, who filled in at boundary corner when Lenore moved to nickel.
Okay.
He hurt his hand and had surgery, and he'll be just fresh back from hand surgery. So that might be. But like, what are some areas of weakness that you would have where if you were our offensive coordinator, like what on your defense do you think is susceptible to being attacked?
Oh gosh. Well, as of lately, once again, I really hope that they don't make me pay for saying this, but our run defense it feels like it's improved, but that usually is, I don't know, that's usually not the best area. Like usually teams run all over us. I mean, I can think back to, just Raheem Mostert. Oh my God, like just everybody just running all over us. And so I think CMC is going to get yards regardless. I mean, he's going to get going regardless. I think it's how we contain him, but I think that worries me the most is him. So our run defense is a little bit suspect, but up front we've done a much better job. Like I said, our D line, like Devontae Wyatt, making an impact, and kind of closing in on the space quickly and making sure nobody gets through. I would say our corners are somewhat young. Outside of Jair Alexander, they're not really a lot of. I mean, we have Kayshawn Nixon. I mean, he's been playing well lately, but I mean, outside of that, we've got Valentine and Ballantyne. I mean, that's confusing, but there's Valentine and then there's Ballantyne, and so I mean, they're young and I mean, they did well against the Cowboys, but at the same time, I don't know how they're going to handle. Given, you have a star tight end, 2-star wide receivers and Ayuk and Debo. So I think you might see some of the youth in terms of our corners come out. Also, surprisingly enough, Darnell Savage, our safety, which I have to say I've been really harsh in terms of, assessing him this year. He played really well against the Cowboys as well. Everybody kind of had a really good game. But overall this season, he's been, I'd say, average at best. And if he has a bad game, it's a bad game. Like there's no recovering from it. It's either it's really good or it's really bad. It's one or the other. So our safety room is not that deep either. We just do not have a lot of any corner and safety. It's just not that deep. And so that would be, just keep running routes. We are very susceptible in the middle of the field. We really are, right dead center in the middle.
And that's what Kyle likes to exploit too. Typically,
Yep.
We'll run our 21 personnel. We'll get a linebacker lined up on a running back, and then we'll split the running back out to the slot, get the linebacker out in space on an island with no help around, and it's a mismatch for our guys just running slants and things like that. So that's good to know, and thanks for sharing that. And I shared a little of ours. I mean, I think also like right guard is a weakness on the 49ers. Spencer Burford has been a weak spot all year. I like John Feliciano, our backup, better than our starting right guard. And I hope he can get to play some. And then our right tackle, McKivitz, is not great either. So the right side of our O-line is definitely an area. And some people brought up some good points. They're saying basically like that we did see our rookies some. And, we were basically only drafting kicker. And Darwin's Ravens said they were mostly drafted for depth, not starters. Yeah, I mean, when you have a Super Bowl roster, you're not looking for a lot of rookies to come in and make a big impact right away. So yeah, only drafted for one position. That was kicker. That's true. I mean, I just was saying that, at least so far you can't say it was a great draft, but hopefully next year when they get some play, they can make me eat my words, and I'll be happy to say that. So, see here, Darwin said you met, and it's actually Levi is his name, just like Levi's Stadium. Darwin's Ravens name is Levi. So welcome, Levi. He said I mentioned it in one of my games. Love was like 5 to 6 regular season games leading into 18 career grades. I'm not sure I caught the meaning of that. So
I think he's saying the last couple games, the last 5 games, his grade, like his PFF or whatever was some of the best that he's had. Because I know that he was playing well against Chicago and Minnesota, and he played pretty well against the Panthers. That was an ugly game.
And it's the Panthers. Come on. I guess the Panthers D is pretty good. So
I took years off of my life watching that game.
He says he's heating up. There you go.
He's heating up. Yep. On the right side. I don't think. Okay, I know we switch out. So hold on a second. Let me answer that because I know that we switched some guys out.
Okay, DN says that's why letting Rasul go hurt the pack.
Dude, oh my gosh. Don't even get me started on that. A 3rd round pick for that? Are you kidding? I was so mad. I still am. That made me so angry. It still does. It still makes me so upset. We should not have gotten rid of that, and I will stand by that. And our fan base was like, well, he was, aging and all this stuff. I don't care. Our corner room is so thin. You cannot get rid of a guy like that. I still don't see the vision yet. I really don't. I hope Gute proves me wrong, but God, I don't see it yet.
There you go. Darwin says he covered the Packers last offseason. No wonder. So he's intimately aware why they let him go. Yeah.
The age. I think it, like I said, I think it was more so like the age. And I think we were at that time, right when the deadline was here about, are we going to sell and are we going to like completely start over? And then, yeah, exactly. He was probably thinking a rebuild, didn't expect exactly. That's what I was getting at. So he was like, well, let's sell. And then he only sold him. And I was like, well, make up your mind. If you're going to sell one of our good players, you might as well send more. And for a 3rd round pick, that's just, oh my gosh, that's criminal. He's played so good for Buffalo.
Yeah, except for he's injured now. I guess he got injured.
The cap was also a problem.
Against the Steelers. Yeah, yep. That's a bummer.
Yep.
Packers have cap problems. It was rough looking at had cap problems. Maybe.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. About drop the expensive guys or trade. That's true. Makes sense. Oh, audience is popping here. I'm having trouble keeping up.
Oh, no.
I wish the Niners had got him too.
Oh,
we definitely need more depth in our secondary for sure. Got James Durnall coming to us from the UK.
Happy for you, James.
A little bit later, but coming up on midnight GMT over there. But good. I'm glad you got your shift covered. Welcome, James.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Pissed about a 3rd rounder, and we picked Moody. Yeah, I was saying that we blew all our 3rd round picks, not named Fred, since Kyle's been here. It's been pretty bleak. Pretty crazy that you could do that. What jobs do people? And we get a lot of comp 3rd round picks too. That's the other part. A lot. Which I guess technically Jair Brown was, so maybe we didn't blow that one. I guess I can't be. Technically, he's a 3rd round pick, so he still could be good. Okay, I'm not gonna. Thanks, Riders. Cap space and always limits. Bottle Rock.
Yeah, that team-friendly contract, BS. Entirely BS. That man did not take a team-friendly contract. It just pushed it into the future even further. And I'm like, this does not help anything. But thankfully, the Jets were dumb enough to pick most of that up. So
there you go. Go Jets.
Yeah.
Robert Saleh, former Niners defensive coordinator, the head coach there. Joe Douglas, I think, is their GM. Yeah, yep. I got a segment called Off Season where we play GM of various teams, requests teams and fans. So GB was part of it. Interesting.
That's cool. That's a good thing to do. That's cool.
Season plan. There you go.
Nice.
hopefully you're not digging into it too soon here,
Oh yeah.
Levi. We were talking about God, what's their corner's name? I'm blanking on it now. That we were just talking about earlier. Who's out? Mark Andrews back in, and Marlon Humphrey.
Yep, there you go.
Is out. How do you feel about that, Levi? You think seems like a huge deal? Marlon Humphrey seems like your guy's best corner, right? Is it bigger? I mean, like, would you rather have Marlon Humphrey stay in and Mark Andrews stay out, or how it is? Mark Andrews back and Marlon out. Do you guys have enough depth at corner? Because I feel like Isaiah Likely is. I mean, he's not Mark Andrews, obviously, but he's a lot closer, I think, than your whatever third or fourth corner is going to come in for Marlon Humphrey. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. Oh, here we go. He says it's rough. If Tank and Nico are healthy, around Darby will start opposite. I'd rather have Marlon. We got depth. Yep, that's exactly what I thought.
Yep, said earlier. Yep.
That's what I said earlier. Yeah, that was my hunch. But hopefully it won't matter against the Texans. I mean, I know they beat the Browns, but the Browns defense doesn't travel. At least they didn't in 2023. And it's Flacco, and no, I don't know. I just don't think that compares to Lamar and Likely and Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews, and they got a lot going. And people that are citing the old Ravens struggles in the playoffs, they don't realize, like Niner fans realize, what a anchor Greg Roman was. And getting rid of him is huge for you guys, I think. And we'll see. But I picked your Ravens. I was telling Gute here that I picked all the favorites to win this weekend. Did you have a prediction for our game, for the other games that you want to share?
So if I'm doing this with my head and not my heart, so head would have to be 49ers probably going to win. I'd say probably like 35-24, something like that. Something around those lines. I think you win by 10 or so, a little bit more. If we play, a good game. Heart, like 31-28 Green Bay, something really close. But, I kind of said the same thing against Dallas. I kind of did the same thing with, the Beerly podcast. I gave like a head and a heart thing, and it was kind of the same thing. I would love for us to win, but I just don't know. It just depends. But if I had to pick with my head, you guys have had our number for a while, and I think our youth is going to show. So,
yeah, I mean, I would, like I said earlier, I think I'd take the Niners, but I'd take the Packers and the points.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But here's the thing: like, Niners have to get out to an early lead, and we got to do our front running thing. Niners are a front running team. If you guys can get out to an early lead like you did against the Cowboys, we are not a drop back passing team. Our O-line is not built to pass block. We're built to run the ball and run play action off the run.
Yep.
And if that's not working, then, or if it's just back and forth all game and it's close, then I give the advantage to the Packers, because the Niners haven't won a close game all year. Like, all our games we've won by like 10 or more points, which is great. It's nice that that we can dominate teams, and I don't think that will happen with the Packers. I don't think we'll dominate them. I don't think that's I don't think any team will from here on out. If they end up beating us, I think they'll be in it with any team they play. Honestly,
Respect.
We'll see that.
Respect.
Well, anything else we should talk about? I have another show tomorrow morning, and I keep blanking on the guy's name. Another Packers fan. This will be my third Behind Enemy Lines this week. I did, like I said, Steak and Cheese earlier today, and this other gentleman is coming on tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 11:30 Eastern. Another Packers Behind Enemy Lines, and his name is Brunelli Sports.
Yep.
So I'm excited for that. And then I usually do a Friday show with Bashar. We do Balling with Bash and Ted Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern. However, we had a audience member who passed away, and we just found out about it the other day. And he was very close with her. Her name is Laura Cat, so rest in peace, Laura Cat. She was a big supporter of my channel and a lot of the other channels, 49ers channels. I got to meet her in person after training camp this summer. So prayers up to her family and friends. She'll live on with all of us people who knew her for sure, but it's sad. And so I don't know if Bash is going to be up for doing a show Friday or not. It's kind of game time decision. We'll see.
Yep.
But just Gute, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. And is there anything else that you want to go over that we may have missed? I mean, I don't have to leave right this second or anything. Maybe I'll try and get through some of these chats real quick. There you go. Both best of luck. Thank you, Levi. Appreciate it. 49ers should win. Yeah, that's how I feel. We should win, but if it's raining, if there's injuries, if the Packers get ahead first, if they can stop the run, if they can stop those over the middle plays,
yeah, that's fair.
Anything could happen, I think. So
no, I mean, I think we covered a lot of stuff here.
Like someone said they're too young to fear the 49ers. They don't they don't know what they're up against, and I agree with that for sure. I mean, having young teams can be rough, but also you get a confidence where you're just like, yeah, that's what it used to be, but now it's a new day. So and a new love. So
I think we hit on everything.
This is actually a term of endearment too. Spud-faced cabbage lickers. Yeah, that's actually a nice thing apparently over there in Britain. So
they certainly do things different over there.
They do indeed.
Anything that's cool.
One guy has Jordan Love has playoff experience now too. So Purdy was 2-0 2-0 with a injury asterisk to be 2-1 technically in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Jordan Love's 1-0. So yeah, that should be good. Yeah. R.I.P. to Laura Cat. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. My condolences. That's really sad.
Indeed. Well, like I said, I mean, we can't root for each other's teams, but we can root for no injuries.
Sure,
we can root for a competitive game. We can hopefully root for no referees botching big calls.
I hope so. I love to get away.
That's the worst feeling.
It is.
And if you decide you'd like to come back on next week and do a recap with me, offer that. The one thing I would ask is let's schedule it before the game, because if we do end up losing, I might not be quite so eager to do it. But nonetheless, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you to Beerly Carey, who put us in contact with one another. I'll say peace and go Niners. And if you want to give us a go Pack go or something like that.
Go Pack go, baby. Let's do it. We got one game. Nothing to lose here. Nothing to lose.
There you go. Well, thanks everybody, and peace.